session is the half-year pep talk, helping you achieve what you want to achieve from now to the end of the year. Now, I'm not going to say the end of the year is the 31st of December, because you may decide that it's a bit before that, before Christmas. It does not really matter. What it matters with what I'm going to talk about today is you review, you plan, and you do. You review, you plan, and you do. And you might not be doing it in that order, but we're going to use those three words throughout what I'm talking about today. Review, plan, and do. So the first section of the half-a-year pep talk is that review. Let's take the opportunity to review. So grab yourself a bit of paper or a journal if you've got a journal. I went to the pound store or the dollar store and bought this brilliant journal. In fact, I bought 10 of them because they're such high quality. And I went and bought them, and I did this exercise yesterday. So I can't go through the whole exercise because we haven't got a time, and I suggest you maybe watch this session again. But we're first going to be in the review stage, and there are 5 parts of the review. 5 parts of the review. So please, if you're playing along with me now and you're watching, just have a go at writing one thing for each of the sections, and you can always go back to them and cover them at a later date. So number 1 in our review section is gratitude. Write down something now over the past 6 months, because we're reviewing the past 6 months, you have felt gratitude for. You have felt something that you're happy it's in your life, that you've done something, the people around you, your circumstance, whatever, but write something down. And sometimes people say, well, I don't know what to be thankful for. Well, how about being thankful for waking up this morning? How about being thankful for having a clean glass of water? How about thankful for having the internet and you know, watching this wherever you're watching it? Gratitude is so important because gratitude puts us in a state. And when we show gratitude, it helps us move forward. So I like to say gratitude is the oil that keeps us going. And if we're constantly showing the gratitude attitude, gratitude, that's good, that rhymes, isn't it? It helps us move forward and keep that momentum. So please, as part of what we're doing now, review gratitude. Start your gratitude list. And I'm going to encourage you for the other 181 days that are left in this year, write something on that list that you are grateful for. You could do it when you get up in the morning and you get out of bed and you grab your journal, you grab your piece of paper where you're writing this down, and you could write one thing that you are grateful for. Okay, part of the review of the last 181 days. What has gone well for you over the past 6 months? There's got to be something, folks. There's got to be something. I've had a really busy 6 months. Wow, but I've achieved a lot with the colleagues and my friends and people in different teams that I'm on the internet, and also through what you're watching now. I've achieved really well. Things have gone really well. And I'm focusing on also the small things, you know, going away for an evening somewhere, or making a dinner, or tidying up part of the house. Just list things that you have gone well. Number 3 of the review. What didn't go well? Now look, I don't want you to write masses on this. Just consider what didn't go well. You know, didn't you follow that diet routine? Didn't you do the exercises that you said you were going to go? Didn't you get up in the morning? Did you have a bit of a bumpy relationship with someone? Did you not get things in time on work? Just literally list things that didn't go too well. Again, don't really beat up on yourself. That's not the exercise, because the exercise is number 4 in the review process, is what did you learn? So I'll pick a few of those things, right? So getting up early in the morning. What did you learn when you did get up early in the morning? Was it that you bounced out of bed when the alarm went off? You did that Mel Robbins thing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out of bed. Or is it because you had something to look forward to? Or did you put the alarm in another room? Or did you get a good night's sleep? What did you notice when things didn't go well and when things did go well? What did you notice when you achieved your projects? When you started something, you kept the momentum going and you finished it. What were the things that made that happen? What did you learn? And the last part of the review section is number 5. And this is where it gets really exciting for the next 6 months. Tell me 3 things you want to achieve in the next 6 months. And maybe write them in the comments. I'm not asking for a SMART goal, and I'm not asking for a big long plan at this moment. 3 intentions that you have, and let's call them intentions rather than goals. 3 intentions that you want to achieve over the next 6 months. Based on the things that you've said in your gratitude list, what went well, what didn't go well, and what have you learned. Just put those 3 things on paper, in your journal or on your sheet of paper. If you're doing it on a computer, 3 things I am committing to achieving by the end of 2022 or the end of the year that you may be watching this in. 3 things you're going to achieve and you're committing to achieve. Now, look, at this moment in time, this isn't about editing. This isn't about editing your dreams, your aspirations, your wishes. Just 3 sensible things that you want to achieve. 3 sensible things that you want to achieve over the next 6 months. Please pop them in the chat if you wish. Right, we're on to section number 2. So we've done review and we've reviewed gratitude, what went well, what didn't go well, what have you learned, and what 3 things you're going to achieve over the next 6 months. And by the way, I've got a template for this. If you want that template, just please DM me or email me and tell me what you want and I will send it to you. Okay, so I have a template that goes through these questions. I actually did it yesterday when I did it in my own journal. But if you want that template, please pop in the chat, say Steve, send template, or pop in the comments, send template, and I will. Or you can direct message me, or you can email me. You've got all my details. Just ask for it and I've got it for you. Anyway, moving on, we're at the plan section of our half-year review. This is where it gets exciting. Now, before you jump in and say, right, let's put a schedule together, let's put a thing together that's going to help me, let's plan every day, let's do my Pomodoro technique and my schedule, and let's download something from the internet. No. Whoa. Wait, slow down there, horsey, because in the planning section, we're just going to take a little bit of step back. I want you, over the next couple of days, is to clear the decks. Now, you may notice my office behind me is looking particularly tidy. That's because I did something as part of this review process. I had a massive tidy up, right? A massive tidy up. I did all my, what I call a desktop tidy, and I've covered that before. I did a house tidy, so I went around all the surfaces and polished and did all that, and I hoovered and I mopped windows, I polished, yeah. I had a good old tidy up. A good old putting things away. Now, I have to admit, some of the things I've put away. So in my drawer here, I have put a lot of what was in my desk on that drawer, and that needs sorting out. But I've got this clean environment. And environment is so important in helping you maintain. Because when you've got clutter, things don't happen. If you think about your area where you work, does that represent your mind? Are you all cluttered? Are you not focused on the one thing you should be doing? Great idea is clutter. And all I've got on my desk here at the moment, I've got my glass of water, I've got my journal, and I've got what I'm doing today. This is my list for today. That's all I've got. Of course, I've got my computer and my screens that I'm looking. But I've had a good, and it feels brilliant. It puts me, remember I talked about having the state of gratitude? Well, this is about the state of being clutter-free and ready and motivated to be in the space. So that's number 1 of the plan. Number 2, I'm going to encourage you to declutter, okay? Tidy up some things. Look at your desktop, put them into folders, declutter a space and start to declutter and free your mind up over the next couple of days. You know, sort that drawer out, kitchen cupboard underneath the stairs, bathroom cupboard, you know, in the wardrobe. Have a little bit of a look at those clothes. If you want them, you need them, or don't want them, or whatever. Just have a bit of a declutter and recycle them as well. There's lots of people in the world that need your clothes, and you know, don't recycle things. It's a great idea. Right, number 3 of the planning. We're not done anything yet, folks, have we? And I know this seems a little bit long-winded, but please put these steps in for you, because it really has helped me achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I want you to consider something I've talked about a lot: mind, body, spirit, relationships, and your emotions. Without these building blocks, undoubtedly, without these building blocks, okay, I don't think you're going to achieve those 3 things you said in part of the review process, those 3 intentions. Because our mind, our body, our spirit, and our relationships and our emotions need to be invested in. This is one of the number 1 reasons why people don't finish what they start, is they forget all these things. So they are running on empty in their mind, their body, their spirit, their relationships. Their mind is just not organized, and they're not taking time out from what they're doing, and they become fatigued. That mental fuzz happens. Their body, they're not looking after themselves. They don't drink water. They don't have the nutrients. They don't get out in the fresh air. They don't stop looking at computers. They don't have that. I'm not looking at a computer for a day. They don't look after themselves. What about that spirit? They don't take time out just to sit or connect with a higher being, or connect with the universe, or whatever you want to call that. Certainly they forget their relationships. They forget the people around them. They don't keep investing in those relationships. And lastly, they don't look at that after their emotional well-being, building up positive emotions rather than focusing on the negative emotions. I had a great quote the other day with regard to a glass of water. And the quote was, if you had a dirty glass of water, and you know the water was dirty or had dye in it and it wasn't clear, and the way to get rid of that dirt or that dye is, if you can empty the glass, that's fine, but we can't do that. We can't just empty ourselves. But what we can do is keep pouring in clean water, and slowly but surely, remember that for our next section, slowly but surely the water will become clean, because you keep putting clean water in. Right, so how could you invest in your positivity, your emotions, your happiness? Think about positive emotions. Maybe pick one a month over the next 6 months and develop your skills in it. We're still on planning, aren't we? We're still on planning, but it's important, okay? So mind, body, spirit, relationships, and emotions. And I would like you, over the next 6 months, to take some time, invest some time, at least once a week, in your mind, your body, your spirit, your relationships, and your emotions. Pop it in your diary. Look, it could be you would do them all at the same time. So you might go for an early morning walk. You're getting air into your lungs, you're raising your spirit, you're connected with nature, you're being positive, and you could be walking with a friend. Look at that, all in one. You might go to your local pool and go for a swim, grab your friend. Why don't you put something in your diary where you can see, here's a challenge, another challenge on top of a challenge, but anyway, the MBSRE challenge. Once a week, see if you can do one activity that fits your mind, your body, your spirit, relationships, and your emotions, and give us some ideas. Pop that in the chat or in the comments, because that would be brilliant for people to see, wouldn't it? Imagine all these little projects that are going to pop up from this 6-month review. Right, the next part of the planning bit is those 3 things that you wanted to do, those 3 objectives. You need to plan them in your week. What gets scheduled gets done. We've heard that so many times. What gets scheduled gets done. And what I would suggest you do, you're going to have 3 objectives, no more, no more. Pick the one objective and make sure you schedule it in the ratio of 3-2-1 to your other objectives. So if my objective is for example, the next 6 months is my objective to feel better and perhaps lose a stone in weight or pounds in weight, that's got to be my number one. And I need to schedule that before I start scheduling number two. So number two may be to decorate the house. Am I putting my fitness schedule, my fitness objective before decorating the house? Okay, can you see what I'm saying? So if you're going to spend 1 hour, if you've got sort of three hours to schedule in your diary, schedule your number one objective first. Number one, 3-2-1 for your 3 objectives that you are going to plan. Because what sometimes we do is we say we've got 3 things and we don't focus on the one important thing that will make the difference. What's the one thing in your 3 intentions and objectives that's going to make the difference? And the last thing about planning is our weekly plan. Make sure that you plan in your diary time to invest in your mind, body, your spirit, your relationships, and your emotions. So lots of planning. Well, there isn't lots of planning. It's actually just the way to plan in your head. And this is now the bit that you've all been waiting for, isn't it? The actual key, the secret. There's a book about that, but it's not what I'm going to talk about. The secret to getting things done over the next 6 months to achieve what you want by the end of the year. Here's the secret. 1% of doing something is better than 100% of not doing anything. One tiny, tiny step to start, to keep going and finish is better than no steps. So if you've been trying to achieve something in the past 6 months, you need some motion. You need to get things going. You need to put some emotion into it. But look, tiny, tiny steps. Slowly but surely. I said that earlier. But action is the key. Things don't move. Glasses of water don't get drunk without taking a sip. Look at that, nearly achieving my hydration goal for today. Make sure you take steps forward. Not thinking about what you haven't done. Not that I woulda, I coulda, I shoulda, those type of words. I could have done this, I should have done this. You didn't. So do. First step, one tiny step at a time. Don't beat yourself up. If you're reviewing your week, remember the review questions, use those review questions and find out why you're not doing something, then put steps in place. Number 2 of the do process. Put time in your journal, your diary for your mind, your body and spirit. Make sure that you're investing times in your mind, body and spirit. And you're building on your positive emotions, and you're putting that positive stuff in you. And you're building those relationships and reconnecting. Ask for help. This is part of the relationships. We've talked about this before. Ask for help. If you need help, just ask for it. Okay? That's relationships. Reach out, call a friend. Contact me if you want. If you need some help, contact me. If you need someone to support you over the next 6 months, contact me. Direct message me. Email me. Just contact me. And I'll try and help as best as I possibly can. Number 4 of the next 6 months. Commit to enjoying what you do. Put pleasure in what you do. Right? Put pleasure in what you do. Enjoy. Putting joy into it. So you know what? You might not enjoy painting the house, but put the music on. Get friends around. Have a DIY party. Think of ways you can put the joy into the next 6 months. You've got those 3 intentions. So ask yourself now, when you've written them down, and if you're watching this again and I do encourage you to watch this again, because there's a lot of information. I know there's a lot of information, and I'll put a summary in the chat as well for everybody to help you as much as I possibly can. Put the joy. So say, okay, this is my intention. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to make it fun. Make it fun. It's a secret little thing. Make things fun. People, we don't, as humans, don't like boring things. No, we are enjoyment seekers. We love enjoyment. That's why we have films. That's why we have holidays. That's why we have parties. That's why we go for walks and look at the sunset and all that, because it brings the joy, that positive emotion. Pop that into everything you do. And the last thing, I'm going to say it again, and it comes back every time, but I suppose it's what I'm talking about in this session. It's review your progress. Each week, grab that journal and write out those questions. What am I grateful for? What went well? What didn't go well? What did I learn? And what am I going to achieve next week? And do it. Woo! That was a lot, wasn't it? That was my notes. I had notes today, all on one page. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to write it down because it's so important, because I'm going to commit to make the next 181 days the best 181 days that I've had in 180 days. That means, by the way, if it's 181 days, there's 3 days left. What am I going to do with those 3 days? I'm just going to celebrate. I'm going to have 3 celebration days for my 3 intentions. Look at that. I've just made that up, but I've put the fun into it. Right, so here's the very quick review. Very quick review. Very, very quick. So 3 different sections to reviewing your and planning and doing your next 181 days to finish the year strong, or whatever you want to say you want to achieve. So review, plan, do. Here's a review section. Gratitude list. Write something once a day. Then do this exercise. Grab a sheet of paper and ask about the last 181 days, the last 6 months. Ask yourself, what went well? Really celebrate. Really celebrate. What gets celebrated gets repeated, right? So 1, gratitude. 2, what went well. 3, that didn't go well. Don't beat yourself up. It's about learning. Number 4, what did you learn in the last 6 months about yourself, about others, and about what you're doing? And then number 5, getting excited about 3 things that you're going to achieve by the end of the year. Section 2 was planning. Now, we didn't do any action in planning. This was just about planning and preparing, I suppose. I suppose it should be called planning and preparing, this section. But anyway, number 1 of the planning and preparing section, tidy up. Number 2, have a bit of a declutter. Get things away from the past. Say goodbye. Say thank you, as that lady says, and it's gone out my head. Does it bring you joy? No, it doesn't. Thank you, goodbye. Let go of things. Make sure for number 3 in the planning that you're planning to invest time in your mind, body, spirit, and your relationships and your emotions at least once a week. Number 4, schedule those actions that you're going to need to do to complete your intentions, okay? And do it on a 3-2-1 basis. Most important, if you've got time in your week like this, so 1.5 hours on your first intention, the most important thing, and get that on. In fact, forget the other 2. Do that one thing first. Why not do it that way, okay? But if you are going to schedule all 3, make sure that you've got 1.5 hours in your first intention, most important, 1 hour in your second intention, and only half an hour in your third until you get your first one done. And the last one in the plan section is plan to review. Grab that journal and review each week. And then the last thing, this is the do section. 1% is better than no percent, okay? 1% is better. Small steps. Celebrate those small steps. Action is key, is number 1. Number 2, make sure you look after yourself. Be kind to yourself. Build those foundations, mind, body, spirit, emotions, and relationships. Keep talking about it. That, for me, was a key learning for me in personal development. If you don't put them in first, the other things don't happen. Because you know what? When you're tired and you're shattered and whatever, and you've not been investing your time, and you don't feel well, and you're not sleeping well, you won't achieve those goals. So that's so important. Make sure you're asking for help is number 3. Ask for help here. put comments in the group, ask me for help. Ask people, just say, look, I've got this intention that I want to do by the end of the next 6 months. Can you give me any help? Can you give me any ideas? There's people out there, by the way, who've done what you want to achieve. Go on to their website. Go on to their books. Have a look at their books. Loads of people writing books at the moment to help you. Have a look at that. Number 4. Okay, number 4 is put the joy into what you're doing. Make things fun. I love coming on and making these videos because I actually really enjoy it, and it gives me a sense of achievement, and I think it's fun. I think it's great. I enjoy what I'm doing. Put the joy into it. And the last thing of the last section in the do section is review your progress on a week and go back to the start and ask those questions. What am I grateful for? What went well? What didn't go well? What did I learn? And what am I going to do in the next week? And we're right back to review. And if you've spotted, the plan, do, review is a circle and just keeps going round. So keep that circle going round for the next 181 days and finish this year strong and achieve what you want to achieve. Please have a go. Come on. What's the harm? What is the harm in having a go and trying on those ideas and see what happens? And I'd love to hear what you think about this process. I'd love to hear about your successes. I'd love to hear about what you've learned about yourself and what you've learned about others in the process, and what worked, what didn't work. Tell me, and we'll have a chat. Let's have a chat. Let's try and help each other.